And now, so what do we do? How do we, I explained that. Hopefully you can help you remember that, because you want the answer. Now, I also, when I tried to help you distinguish between these two names, LCM and the GCF, the focus is always the last word. M means multiple, means you're going to multiply something. F means factor, which means a number that can go into all the numbers given. So you always have a bunch of numbers given, 2 or 3 or 4. And multiple is going to be a number such that every number would go in there, or the multiple LCM will contain all of them. So 6 would go into your answer, 15 would go in there, 28 would go in there. That's what you're looking for. Okay, in a second, after this example, I will talk about GCF. That's totally the other way around. So GCF factor, which is a number that can go into 6, you can see the arrow is pointing to each number. So the answer would be smaller. So whatever a number can go into 6, a number can go into 15, and a number can go into 28. Okay, all right, so now let's still focus on multiple. So how do you find a number? Usually it's a big number, and Natalie already told us it's 420. And that number has to contain 6, has to contain 15, has to contain 28. So if I ask you, what number you can think of that can contain 6, contain 15, contain 28, it's probably very difficult for you to see. So that's why we break down each number. So it will help us to see. So I'm going to break down 6. And it's 2 times 3. We did it. And then we're going to break down 15. Now, when you break down 15, it's 3 times 5. So I'm going to first write it down here. And as what I recommended, that you should line up the numbers. So for example, the first factor 3, I'm not going to put it here because they don't match. So I'm going to move it to the second column because there's a 3 there. So I want to make sure they match. And then I have a 5. 5 does not line up with the 2. So I'm going to create a new column and put it down. The reason, I mean, you could put all of them together like randomly, but you have to remember, okay, if there's only one, you're gonna have to bring down every number you see, but don't bring down twice. Okay, so if you have a 2, you bring down. Okay, if there's a 3, you bring down one of them, and so it's really not easy that way. So that's why I highly recommend you line them up. It's very easy. If you have a column of certain number, bring it down. Okay, so that's 15. Now 28, I'm going to break down. So I might need to do a factoring tree. So 4 times 7, 7 is prime, and 4 is 2 times 2. I'm going to write it down as 2 times 2 times 7. So that's what we covered on Tuesday's class. So we got to use it here. So 28, we break down as, now there's a 2. I can line up with the first 2 I see. And there's another 2, which we don't have any column with another 2, so you have to create a new column for that. And there's a 7. We don't have a column that has 7. See, that's 2, that's 3, that's 5, and that's another 2. We need a 7. Okay, so after we do that, why do I break each number down? Because so we can see better what we should bring down. All right, so you can write down LCM. First column, it's a column of 2 you break down. So this 2 you write down will cover both 2's contained in 6 and 28. And then the second column is a 3. So this 3 will cover both 3's contained in 6 and 15. And then this 5 will contain that 5 contained in 15. And then this 2 will contain. So these 2 2's will cover those 2 2's contained in 28. And then bring down 7. So every column, you bring down one number. Okay, always bring down one number. And we do have to multiply them together. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 5 is 10. And there's still 7 here. So 6 times 7 is 42. 42 times 10 is 420. So that's the answer. And again, why this way works? Because the answer, LCM, must contain 6. How do you make your answer contain 6? You must contain all the numbers contained in 6, right? So if 2 is contained in 6, 3 is contained in 6, and you want your answer to contain 6, then your answer must contain 2 and 6. Sorry, 2 and 3. So that's why you want to bring down those numbers, because you want your answer to contain these two, which these two are contained in 6. Similarly, you want your numbers to, because you also want your number to contain 15. How do you make sure your number contains 15? You need to make sure your number contains everything that's contained in 15. And after we break down, we can see, okay, 15 contains 3 and 5. So the answer must contain 3 and 5. That's why we bring down 3 and 5. Similarly, your LCM also must contain 28. How do you guarantee your answer your number you found contains 28? You break it down. There's 2 to 7. So as long as you bring down these 3 numbers, so it's going to be contained in there. So I can actually kind of highlight the numbers so you can see better where after I multiply all of these numbers together, you may not be able to see. How do you see 420 contains 6? Okay, because I brought down, let me use a different highlighter. So I brought down this 2 and 3. And look, see, 6 is contained in 420, right? And then how do you see 15 is contained in 420? Because I brought down this 3 and that 3, which is maybe I'll use a different color, which is 3 and 5. 15 should be, because I multiplied them already together into 420. So that should be contained in there. And similarly, I also brought down, this 2 and this 2 and this 2 and 7, 2 to 7. That's exactly 28. So they must be contained in 420, because 420 is obtained by multiplying all of these numbers. So some of them will cover 6, some of them cover 15, some of them cover 28. Okay, all right. So, but